Just thinking that sometimes, because of Brexit dominating politics so much, big infrastructure projects are sort of, the focus is away from them, but they remain very, very important.
And controversial as well, because HS2 was intended a high-speed rail link between London and Birmingham, going on to Manchester and Leeds. There are concerns, though, particularly among business leaders, who say they think the northern leg might not be actually finished. Let's go straight to Manchester Piccadilly Station. Not too busy right now. Ben's there for us today. Tell us a little more about what's happening with HS2, Ben.
Yeah, morning to you both. This is the 350-mile rail route from London to Birmingham and then onwards, it's hoped, to Manchester and Leeds. Let me take you to the map to explain this, because it can be a little bit complicated. Now, the phase one, that's the first bit of this, that's already been given approval and construction has already started. That's between London and Birmingham. That's set to open in 2026, but there are big questions about the next two bits of that, phase 2A and phase 2B. Now, phase 2A takes it from Birmingham to Crewe, and that's due to open in 2027, but that's not yet been given approval. That's expected to happen later this year. But it's the final bit that could be the most controversial. That's the bit that will take it from Crewe to Manchester and then from Birmingham to Leeds. Now, that's not even been debated yet. It's due to be debated in Parliament next year, and if it does get the go-ahead, it will open by 2033. But business leaders in the Midlands and the North are concerned that those extra bits will not be built at all, given our history with things like cost overruns and delays on big infrastructure projects. They say that will be detrimental to the economy of the North and the jobs that that would create. Clearly too, the implications for travel times between London, the Midlands and the North. So what do they make of it? With me, two people who can explain a little bit more. Henri Murison is the director of the Northern Powerhouse Partnership, and Joe Rukin is campaign manager of Stop HS2. Morning to you both. Henri, let me start with you, because the concern here is when you get your letter to the government and to MPs, you say this needs to be built. You're concerned that the extra stretch might not happen.
I think we've seen people like Boris Johnson suggesting that maybe this isn't a good idea, and I think fundamentally what we have to do in the north of England and the Midlands is keep making the positive case why this is essential to the economy. We need to unlock growth. That includes increasing particularly capacity between Birmingham, Manchester and Leeds, which at the moment have derisory rail links, as well as increasing capacity on the West Coast Main Line, which had to be upgraded at the cost of almost 10 billion a few years ago. We'll need to do it again using conventional rail infrastructure. Why do that when actually we've got a perfectly good solution here that's going to provide transformational links, for instance, to Manchester Airport, which is already becoming another Heathrow, a significant international hub for the whole country.
All of this coming at a cost, though. £56 billion is the current price tag. Given our history of delays and cost overruns, it's expected to go up even more. Is that money not better spent elsewhere, maybe on an east-west route in the north?
I think the point is that it shouldn't be a choice between both, and actually Northern Powerhouse Rail and HS2 are actually completely integrated. The tunnel, for instance, from this station at Piccadilly to Manchester Airport will carry trains to Liverpool as well as to London and on to Leeds and Newcastle going in the other direction. That's what we need, an integrated rail system, a high-speed network for the north of England, not just one railway. And the reality is to try and pull HS2 apart isn't the right solution. I think if you were starting from scratch, you might have built east-west first, but in reality that's not where we are. We need both schemes delivered by the beginning of 2033, so you can get from cities like Bradford, for instance, whether it's to London or Manchester, because cities like that have been left behind previously. We need a city centre station on Northern Powerhouse Rail, which means that people in that part of the world really benefit from HS2.
Now, Joe, you'd be quite happy to see that this project didn't get the go-ahead and that those extensions didn't happen, wouldn't you?
Well, absolutely. This whole letter that's being sent in today, it stinks of desperation. On Tuesday, the chair of HS2 Limited, or the former chair of HS2 Limited, admitted he has no idea, nobody knows how much this project is going to cost. And this letter to try and ensure that phase 2B happens is going in because, and I've got to correct you on this, construction isn't happening yet on phase 1. They're clearing the ground, they're doing archaeology. The reason that construction isn't happening is because the contracts have been held, because it's going massively over budget, because they didn't do the ground surveys, and now the contractors are coming back and saying we need more money. And again, Terry Morgan said on Tuesday that in terms of speed, scope and cost, something has to give. and they are preparing the ground for dropping the phase to Manchester and Leeds, because it's always been the least likely to happen.
But the project comes at a cost, but it would create 100,000 jobs, shift journey times between London and the north, and desperately needed to improve capacity. This isn't about a speed issue, it's about capacity. The current railway is not up to scratch.
Well, if it wasn't about speed, why is it called High Speed 2? The bottom line is that if you wanted to deliver capacity, you wouldn't be building a point-to-point service that only serves a couple of cities. You know, they talk about, oh, this is going to be transformative, like the motorways. The motorways, I get on the motorway at Birmingham, I can get off before I get to London. You know, this is the thing with HS2, it doesn't spread the wealth at all. It delivers capacity where it is needed the least, at the maximum possible cost, years and years in the future. You should invest in local rail infrastructure. This is just a massive waste of money, and it's always going to be that.
For now, thank you. Joe, Henry, really good to see you both. Thanks very much. So there you have it. And we said this is a controversial project. You got a taste of it there, and you can see what's going to happen as that debate continues. So we'll continue that debate over the course of the morning, and I'll see you after 7. See you soon. So there's a lot of concern about those projects not being built entirely. So let me introduce you to Joe Rukin, who's campaign manager for Stop HS2. Joe, morning to you. Morning. I mean, you'd be pretty happy, wouldn't you, if this project didn't get the green light at all? Well,
absolutely. The thing is with HS2 is you've seen that industry experts have come out and said that the entire budget for HS2 will get blown just building phase 1. And the thing is that people are arguing, saying, oh, we need it for capacity, it delivers it where it's needed least. You know, there are tens of thousands, hundreds of people coming into the trains here on Northern, hundreds of thousands across the country, crammed into crush-hour trains every day, who are being told, oh, HS2 will bring more capacity. But it won't. It will, basically, you're telling them that you're going to build a train for the people who occupy first class, for the business elite, and, oh, well, there might be some trickle-down of effects, benefits for the little people, but this is basically a project that is being pushed by George Osborne's lobbying club.
A big investment, £56 billion is the current price tag. It's set to create thousands of jobs. It would improve the speed from London to Birmingham and beyond. But is that money better spent elsewhere?
Well, absolutely, this money is better spent elsewhere. You know, the narrative is now moving on to regeneration, because they've talked about capacity, they've talked about the north-south divide, and all these arguments have been a bust. So now they're saying, oh, it will be regenerative. And of course, you get a lot more regeneration just spending money where it needs to be spent. But you talk about the jobs, and you know, they literally make things up. You know, this is the letter that they're actually sending in today, and it says, you know, HS2 have euphemistically said the project is supporting 7,000 jobs across the country. This lot, they said, oh no, that's not good enough. It's not supporting 7,000 jobs across the country. It's created 7,000 jobs just in Birmingham. And that is the level of debate that you're seeing with these projects. You're getting the people who want to build it are lobbying for it.